obviously.
We just work on the project.
Work on the project?
Yeah, workshop on the project. Yeah.
No, we can't work on the project. Actually, what we're going to do today is we have the last project. So what we're going to do today is actually helpful for the last project.
So then after the class, did it work well?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
How to go back to the expected area to find some code.
Yes, very good. That's a good sign.
Because I did it like that time. I didn't have to go back to the website. Then I got the script for the each import for the manufacturer import and also the script the such.
Nice. And it worked. That's beautiful. That's great. Good job.
Then like 4 tries.
Wow, very cool. Good job. But I'm still not sure why you did that project before the database project.
This one, I guess,
You got stuck.
yeah, but
So you didn't wait. You just did the next one. You're like, wow. How are you going to finish this one?
you help.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, what if we tried to knock this out in an hour and then see if we can spend the last half hour on the project? Would that be helpful? All right, let's do it. Great. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Today is the 24th of March. I can't believe this.
We almost done.
We're almost done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes left. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After today is 4 classes left in this semester. Does anybody want to retake this class with me just for fun? Next semester? Really? Okay. Send me an email. Serious. I might just do that. If you want to be a TA, let me know.
Online TA. I will be here, but online TA.
But you're going to be graduated.
Yeah. I said yes.
I don't think you can be a TA if you're graduate. Yeah. At least you can do it for service. You can do it for free.
For free?
Yeah, just out of the goodness of your heart. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So let's dive in. We'll say a prayer just coming up. So we have the database modification project is due a week from today. It's the due date. Brother Chapman, will I accept late work? Yes, I will. But you don't have much time after that anyway. You know, you don't have much time after. Read a text file. We'll do that one today. That should be pretty easy. There's one thing I want to cover in class about that one, but that one should be pretty easy. Final exam study guide. I don't think is that out there? I can't remember if I put that out there yet. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. As a reminder, final exam is multiple choice, very similar to the midterm. It is cumulative. So any topic from the semester is fair game. This study guide picks off where the midterm study guide leaves off. So you also want to review the midterm study guide in preparation. Following is a list of topics. In addition to what I expect you to know for the midterm, most are taken from specific sections of the book. Close note, close book, close Excel, close AI, close everything. And we decided this is going to be, we took a class vote. More people wanted Proctorio than the testing center, is what I remember. So I'm going to put that in here because I'll forget. We took a class vote. More students, I think everybody.
It's like Proctorio, like last time, and you just take it up. Yeah, but like not this year. So we just did that.
Also on Excel sheets. No.
You can do Proctorio without video?
No, I'm saying can we just do it like last?
No, I want to do Proctorio or testing center. Okay. And what's the dates on these? This is going to be open Wednesday. It's going to be open afternoon Wednesday. Whoa, is it really? I'm not ready for that one. I'll get ready. Open Wednesday afternoon after class, 2 days away. We're like 49 and a half hours away from the final exam in this class. Isn't that beautiful? I don't remember. No help. I apologize. About the same, 40, 50-ish categories with like 20 different options for each question. I know, that's the worst part. This is due April 9th at midnight. I believe that's a Wednesday night. So that's open for, is that almost 2 weeks? Yeah, just like right on 2 weeks. For better or for worse. That's kind of where we're at. Okay, great. Let's start with a prayer and we'll dive in. Today we're working with text files, which is going to be really helpful for our final project. Any volunteer for a opening prayer? We should close it now. Let's say opening prayer to be safe. Any volunteer, please, Jaden. Thank you.
To what's next to increased understanding of that, to understand their thought, and that will be able to each of us have a various word that of this over emotion like to say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. And
Amen. Thank you very much. Welcome back. How was it? Good. Jaden went to nationals. Sort of. I think that's fair. Sort of. He went to nationals, sort of. He didn't do anything, but he went. He's supporting his wife, that's a good call. It's good. He's got that. He's got it figured out. All right, let's pull open the file for today, which is, okay, we got 4 files here. Working with text files. The last project, as Justice knows, is working with HTML. And part of that project is understanding. So if I right click on this page and I go to inspect, there's a whole bunch of HTML over here, right? All these HTML pages have HTML code. Here's the source. If I right click and go to source, that's probably better than doing that. Right click, go to source, view page source. This is the same page, but in HTML code. Isn't that interesting? And it's exactly the same. This page, the same thing. But this is HTML. So it's kind of a preparation for that last project. We're going to be using text files and literally parsing through this text, not this one, but these text files to identify particular pieces of information. And in the last project, we're going to use VBA code to manipulate Chrome to go to a particular website and to scrape some data, which is kind of cool. I think that's cool. But in order to do that, we have to become familiar with working through text. HTML is basically text, right? That's all this is. It's just lots of text with references and stuff. And so this class is going to help us in the sense of being able to deal with text files. We're not doing HTML today. That'll be for the last project. But in preparation for that, we're going to be working with text files. So I'm going to go ahead and download. I'll need to download all 4 of these files. And I will go ahead and download them into my downloads folder. I have my parse text files. And I will open that one up, right click it, do the unblock. Unblock my XLSM file there. And then I'll go ahead and download the other files as well, which includes the text files. So I have WS 2008 save as, and I'll just save it in my downloads, the same folder where my Excel file is. Download the second one, same folder, download the third one, same folder. Okay, great. So I should have parse text files.xlsm downloaded with these 3 data files downloaded. Let's just open up one of these. I'll open up the X11, which is really referring to 2008-11. That's going to be November of 2008 data. Let me open it up. I'll just open it up in Notepad here. It says, how do I want to open it up? I'll choose to open it up in Notepad. And here it is. Here is this file. What can you guys tell me about this file? Do you notice anything interesting about this file? What do you see? This is the file we're going to deal with. Yeah, table form, very good. Spanish? It's actually Brazilian. It's close. Portuguese? Um, what else? Is this file for people or for computer? Probably for people, right? The computer would probably not read this, but this is like a people. Somebody would read this. Some person would read this. This file actually goes back to the 1970s when we had mainframe computers. And back in those days, one company would have, guess how many computers they would have? They had one computer back in the day. And and they didn't even think, it didn't even cross their minds. It didn't even, it wasn't even it wasn't even a flash in somebody's idea mind that computers would need to communicate with other computers. That was not a thing. One company had one computer. The chief marketing officer, he he wouldn't touch the computer. He wasn't trained to do that, you know. You have to be very specialized skill just to access the computer. So how it worked is you'd have this mainframe and it would run all of these reports overnight. And in the morning, this guy with a big tray, with a big scooter, with a big cart, he would take these printouts from the mainframe and like deliver these around the company. Drop off your report on your desk in the morning. Thump. Here's your daily report from the computer. And have you guys seen the old printer paper that's like all connected with holes on the sides? That's what this printer would come from those times. This would be printed out on that kind of paper, and somebody get these reams of reports. And so, back in the 1980s, then they decided, so after the 70s, the 80s came by and they realized, oh, wait, we actually need to get this information from one computer to another computer. When personal computers came around, those were much more affordable, much more common. And what they did is instead of sending this report to the printer, they sent this to a file. And that's really where these files came from, is these old systems that were not designed to communicate with other computers, to just print this information out on a piece of paper. They printed it to a file. And that's really where this came. This was not originally intended for a digital file at all. But these systems are so good. There's lots of systems even today. There are companies that use these old systems because they work, and they have so many things that are tied to these old systems. This is an example of one of the printouts, one of the files that comes out of these old systems. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take this file and we're going to try to pull specific data from this file. This looks like it's some kind of report on monthly precipitation. These look like it's maybe a state. I don't know, is this Brazil? Anybody been to Brazil? I think this might be Brazil. We have different cities here in this list, and we have different states or regions of Brazil here. And we have some kind of monthly progression from June to November of 2008. And then we have precipitation. So for January in June of 2008, there was no rain. And the percentage normal is no rain either. In Pedra Azul, there was 9, centimeters? Millimeters. Precipitation's in millimeters. 9 millimeters in June. Percent normal would be 20. And that's what this data is. What we're going to try to do today is we're going to try to pull the daily amounts. Here's our daily amounts down here in this table. November 4th through the 10th. So this week, 4th through the 10th. For each amount, for each day, for each station and call number. We'll assume these are kind of like weather stations. And that's the goal. So we're going to try to pull this data from this report. If you can imagine, this might be a daily report. This is probably a monthly report. So this is probably something that you have to do every month, is try to pull this data from this report. And if we can automate this through VBA, wow, we're saving a ton of time, and it's going to be more accurate. Okay, so this is the data. And let's go back to the code now and see what we have in our code. Let me open up our file. And the code that we have in here, we have some code already. So we have a process data sub. And for this sub, we are creating a collection. And we've seen this before. We are creating a new collection. We're adding files to this collection. And here we're saying, give me all the files in this workbook path that end in star.data, right? That's like the extension of the file name. And I think that's the files that we downloaded. I think they're .data files. So there they are. There's the 3 files right there that we downloaded. 1, 2, 3. So we're saying, build me a collection of files and add. Here's what we're adding all of those paths into this collection in this loop down here. So adding all the files in that directory with a data extension to a collection. And then we're just printing out the name. So if I were to run this sub, we should see the names here in this immediate window, but I don't see anything. What happened? Oh, there it is. It's just hidden. There it is. So if we run this first sub, you didn't want to interrupt the class? It's okay. You can sit back there. It's okay. Wherever you want to sit. You're good. Okay, no worries. So that's the first sub. Basically what we're doing is we added those files to a collection, and in this for each loop, this for next loop, we're just saying for each file in this collection, print out the file name. And that gives us the full path and the name. So by the way, for the homework tonight, it's probably worth it to mention, let me make this one change here. If you're doing the homework for tonight, I thought I wrote that down. I don't see it in my notes. If you do this, if you go to immediate window and you say this workbook dot path. Sorry. Oh, good catch. This workbook dot path. Oh man. There it is. Thank you. If you do this for the homework tonight and you're having problems on the assignment and it's just not working, come and check this. So if you do this workbook.path and you don't have a C right here or a drive letter at the beginning of this, if you have something like https:// if you have something like that, that's not going to work, right? This is where OneDrive might get you into trouble. So if your file is saved on OneDrive and you do this workbook.path and you're getting HTTPS something, that's not going to work. You need to save the file somewhere on your computer that's not on the OneDrive. That'll save you some time. Does that make sense? Please.
So for mine, it goes through my Mac downloads, and then because it's not in Parallels, it's in my Mac storage.
I think that should still work because that's a shared drive and it's not OneDrive. So it's like a network drive is really what I think the computer sees that as a network drive. I think that should still work. If it doesn't, then just save it on your, as long as it doesn't have HTTPS.
It just has like my backslash.
I think that should work. Yeah, if that doesn't work, let me know. But I think that should work. And that's for the homework tonight. Okay, great. So we've got this one. Here's this first sub. We've done the first sub. The second sub is like a debug sub. We've seen this one before too. We're saying instead of processing all the files, for the purpose of writing the code, let's just pass one file. Give me one file and we'll work on that one file at a time. And we're going to pass one file to this sub, which is the process one file sub. And by the way, I think I've mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. This this idea of creating two subs is pretty common. We have one sub procedure that creates a list and then calls another sub. So what we'd really want to do down here is for each file in the sub, we want to call the process _1 file, and we want to pass it each file, right? That's what we really want to do here, is we build one sub procedure that builds the collection and then calls another sub procedure to actually process the file. We're just splitting those two things up. One sub to build the collection and to call the other sub. And this is the sub down here that's going to process the file. Okay, so let's do this. Here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to open a file. So one of the first things we're going to do is open a file. And the way we do that is open. How about that? We're passing in a file path to this file. So when we run this sub, again, one of the reasons why we have to have this Acme sub runner, this debug sub, is because we have to pass it some information. We can't just start it by itself. And so because we're passing information into it, we already have that available. So we can say open space file path, file underscore path. And this notation is a little bit weird. It goes back to pre-VBA days, to old BASIC. The B in VBA is basic. So pre-Visual Basic days, we're saying open the file, but we want to open the file for input into our program that we're running right now. So from this file's perspective, we're opening that file to input it into our file. So this says open file path for input. And then we want to give it a number, because we could open more than one file. We'll just open one at a time. So we'll do for input as #1, which is kind of a weird notation. Comes back from the good old days, way back when. And that's going to open our file. And let's do this. Let's do a debug.print once the file is open. Oh, sorry. Once the file is open, we have to actually read the first line. So let's read the first line. Line input #1. So we're saying, give me that first line in the file of input #1 and put it in, let's create a variable. Let's call it one line. So one line is the variable. Let me come back up here and create my variable. I haven't even created it yet. One line. And let's go ahead and do this as a string. So we're creating this variable one line as a string. We're opening the file, and then we're saying, okay, save the first line in that file, save it to that string. So let's debug print this, and let's see if this works. And I'll do debug.print one line, and then I'll just type in stop. And let's run this. Acme sub runner. Okay, so we have some data here. WSI Corporation, monthly precipitation tabulation. If I look over here at the text file, what's our first line? There it is, WSI Corporation, monthly precipitation calc. Okay, so that's it. I think we are in business here. Let's do a neighbor check. Neighbor. I am so good at this. Tell your neighbor that.
For the assignment for tonight, that first part, much the assignment.
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah, that's right. I didn't see the assignment before class today, but I think that's right.
I think it's just taking the first line data or
The file.
I
Yeah. I think that's right. Very good. I like that. Okay, how we doing over here? Nice. Carter? Branch? Oh, you guys are so nice. Let's do a quick check. Victoria, what's up?
I'm here.
Long time no see. feel like it's been a couple weeks.
So we run this up.
Yep, perfect. Yep. Bad file name. Open file path for input as number 1. Oh, weird. Start process one file path as string. Dim one line and string. Open file path for input as number. That's actually really strange. I wonder if. Can you copy that file path and paste it on top of that one? Yeah, just the file path itself.
Like right here.
Without the as string. Yeah,
Oh,
just
just
yeah, perfect. Copy that.
paste it where? On top.
Over that other file path. So let's double click on that file path right there and then hit paste.
Okay.
I don't think that's different. But bad file name. Oh, do you have the file? Do you have this file in the same folder?
Yes, I made this folder. Is there anything we need to do to it? Because I just threw them in a folder.
No, that's perfect. It's on the C drive. Yeah, that's right. First text. WSI_2000. Let's check the name here in your code. WSI_2000 X11.
It's 11 data. It's 11, yeah.
Yeah, that looks right. Is that the file that's open? Do the
Yeah.
do this workbook on the go back to your code. Go to your media window. Yep.
Oh, yep.
And then do question mark this workbook.path. And let's just double check where this workbook's at.
Path.
Path.
Okay.
Hit enter on that, see if that comes out. Oh yeah. So I think it's a different file than the one that's in that folder. Try the other one. Okay. Okay, how are we doing? Will? Carson, Chris. Oh, some Mac stuff, Andrew. Way to take one for the team.
Oh, I think I
And
just
for
need
Bill
to save
Gates.
this to because it won't pull up here, but I'm just trying to find it and I can drag it into desktop.
Okay,
'cause
sounds
I
like you know what you're
currently-
doing. Sounds like you're on it. You fake it really well, Andrew, if that's the case. Okay, great. So what we've done so far is we've opened the file and we've read the first line in. This is good. This is a great start. But unfortunately, at this point, we don't need anything in this first line. What we need is we need to keep track of the daily amount for each station and each call number. Up here, this first table is like summary information for the past 5 months. And so we're going to skip this table and try to go all the way down to this line right here to try to get some data. And if we scroll down, we can see this. Maybe if I make this a little bit bigger too, it's helpful. This is kind of a similar pattern. We have a month, or we have one table that has 6 months, and then we have a table of daily amounts, and then we have another table of months, and we have another table of daily amounts, another table of months, just like that, all the way down, right? So what we really need is we need to skip down to this second table where we have the actual days of the month and those amounts for each day. So how do we go down one more line? How do we go down another line? We've opened the file here. We've read the first line. It turns out if we want to go down another line, we just do this again. Line input number 1, comma, 1 line. So if I stop my process and run it again, all I'm doing is I'm just going to the next line. How about that? Line input number 1, 1 line. My apologies.
Okay.
That's not good.
Yeah, it took me to the phone like, yeah, right.
Garrett, can you hear me now? Text Justice. Tell him what a great guy he is, if you can hear me. Text him, Justice, you're like the best guy ever. See if you can hear him now. Wait, I just saw Garrett's text. Garrett text says it's a lot easier to follow the class when the audio's off. Ouch, Garrett. Ouch. You're saying I should turn my microphone back off. I'm gonna turn it off just for you. That's funny. Garrett's funny guy. Funny guy, Garrett. Funny guy. He says it's easier just to watch the code. You don't even need to listen to the teacher. You just watch the code. You don't even understand anything, but you can just do it. Okay, so far we got the days. We've opened the file. We've gone through the lines. We've identified the days, which is good. Next thing is we need some data. So we've grabbed these days now. The next thing is we need to grab the data below the days, right? All this information here for each station and for each call number. And that's what we're going to put into Excel. Okay, great. So let's see. Let's do some more variables. So I'm going to come up to the top and let's create some variables. I think we need to create one for, there's a couple things we need to get. One is for the state. We'll call it a state. We'll call that a string. Let's do station. We'll call that as a string. Let's do a call number. By the way, this is interesting, right? If I try to use call, it doesn't let me use it. It reads, no, call is a protected word. So I'll rename this to call number, something like that. And that works. And now that we have those variables, we can come and start to put some data into those variables from this text file. Okay, how do we find the state? What's interesting to me about the state is each state has these 3 asterisks. And I don't think any other line has these 3 asterisks. So that looks like it's pretty safe. We could say find the line with the 3 asterisks. So let's do that. So after the days, I'll do this before my stop. I'll say do until should we do the last 3? I think it's going to be the last 3 lines, last 3 characters of the line are the 3 asterisks, 1, 2, 3. So we could say do until write 1 line comma 3 is equal to 3 asterisks. I'll type loop. I'll put in my do events. And this is going to get us to the line that we need, wherever that state line is. So I'll do line input number 1, 1 line. And again, this loop is going to say, okay, find the line with the state in it. And then once we get to that line, it'll exit the loop. And that's when we can say state is equal to what is state equal to? In fact, let's do that. Let me run this. I'll run through this loop. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me get rid of this one. I'll come back to it. I'll run through this do loop. And let's see, where am I right now? I'm at this line on the norm line. And I'm going to run through this do loop until we get to the state line, which is, what is that? 1, 2, 3 lines here in this case. So I'll run this one here. And it's gone through the loop. So now I can come down to one line now, and my one line is this state. So there's the state. Minas Gerais. So we found the line with the state. This is great. Now we need to capture the state. So how do we capture it? We can say state is equal to, we could do one line. What if we replaced and trimmed? Let's trim and replace all the asterisks. We'll do one line, comma, and we'll say replace the asterisks with nothing. So it's like double quotes, double quotes right there. So we're saying replace all the asterisks with nothing, and that should give us the state. So if I drag my arrow up and I run that, and I come to my immediate window and I type in state, that gives us our state right there. It worked. We got it. Now, what if we do let's do this one more better. Let's say instead of all caps,